essentially I was trying to face death. I was running from it for a long time. And then I finally, when I did the MRI, and I'm like, okay, I just have to prepare for this to be, cancer, for this to be like whatever. It's always better to lean into hope and beauty and truth. That's the gospel. The thing about AI, the difference is it doesn't have a story.
Well, guys, it's going on midnight tonight. We just got done having a fantastic hour, Seth, hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes with Sam Burchfield, a new friend, musician, a fantastic singer, songwriter out of North Georgia. And he came up, he had a show in Boone, North Carolina last night. He came up here to Ohio this afternoon, and we had 70, probably 65 to 70 people here, I think, and had a fantastic evening together. He puts on such a great show, and just such a good, heartfelt dude. Man, it was just great. Everybody that was here told me, I think told, our team how much they enjoyed the whole time. So it was just wonderful. And Sam we had plans of doing this podcast tomorrow morning after, the show was over and we had a chance to rest. And he came up to me later before we started, and he said, hey, van broke down. It's in Kentucky somewhere. And he said, would you mind if we did the podcast just after the show? We did it. It worked out beautifully. We had a great talk, really, really a heartfelt and just a really good, authentic conversation about life and hard things and the struggles of being on the road and the songwriting and just all of life. AI, that's right, exactly. Thank you. Really, really a fascinating perspective on Spotify. I mean, Seth, what he said about Spotify really made me think of it in a whole new light. I've never considered it the way that he described it. It was just really a great conversation. Thanks very much for hanging out. You are going to enjoy a wonderful hour with Sam Burchfield. The show, there's going to be parts of that online as well, and it was a great time. Man, what a great guy. I am so excited to tell you that Berlin Seeds is sponsoring this episode. Berlin Seeds has become my wife's absolute favorite seed place. Their store is wonderful. They have a test garden. They've been around forever. They do nothing but non-GMO and heirloom seeds. There's no gimmicks. There's no iffy anything at all. They are absolutely wonderful, and I know that you'll love them. You can learn more about Brenton and his team at berlinseeds.life. And tell them Marlon and Plain Values sent you.
So hold my hand, think of me sweetly with a graveyard flower.
If you want someone to trust you, man, you got to be real.
Oh, you let
first.
let your guard down.
You have to show them that you're willing to do it first. Because if that first doesn't ever happen, it never happens. Typically, it never happens.
Well, I think I think that just kind of naturally happens for me at shows where I feel I just love like being on it. Like I love to like try to go to the depths of what I think about something. And so when I'm talking about a song, I like truly, and it's been fun. There's been times, long time ago. I remember when, like 10 years ago, I had a bad breakup, and like all the shows after that, I was just straight up like, guys, I would just go there. I would just go to the depths of my like where I was at. And I had a buddy that was playing with me during that time, and we just like laugh after that. He's like, man, you really like, pretty dark like tonight. And I was like, yeah, man, I just like, that's I feel things big. I think as an artist, I feel things big. And so
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to just sometimes I'll be talking like, this is probably like way too deep for most people that want to go. You go to a concert, you're like,
yeah,
we're gonna just listen to like that. So that's not what you get at a Sam Burchfield show. Most of the time, that is not what you get.
Oh man. Well, let's go back. Let's go all the way back. I mean, how long you been playing music?
So I started playing music in 5th grade.
In 5th grade,
which I'm 33. So do the math. That's a long time. And I started playing upright bass in like orchestra and acoustic guitar at the same time. And that was just because one of my older sisters got an electric bass, and I thought it was really cool. So I jumped in. I got addicted to guitar. I would say addicted might be the right word. Like I would lock myself in my room, play things. My sisters were so annoyed. They'd be like, stop playing that same song. And I'd just be like learning and trying to get faster and trying to like, my fingers were hurt so bad at first from pressing down. And it was just like, I would just found the thing. And then in middle school, one of a buddy who was a year older who played drums kind of was like, we should get together and jam. And so we got in the garage and just jammed. And eventually we had some other buddies, and we had three guitar players and a drummer, which is not a very good sound, especially for middle schoolers. It's just, and we were looking around like, well, we need someone to sing. And we were kind of like, does anybody do that? And I had no like experience singing, but for some reason I was like, oh, well, let me try. I'll try to come up with a song, So I went back and wrote a few songs, and we started playing. And then once I started writing songs, I think that was like the next level for me of just resonating with that.
Did the songwriting come easily? Did it come naturally to you, or did you have to go to classes? And
no classes, nothing like that. When I think about it, I don't know if this is just something that's always been in me, but even at a young age, I loved building Legos, like hardcore. Like I wanted to be a professional Lego builder before guitar. Yeah. But when I built Legos, I would always take apart the thing you're supposed to build and build something just crazy. And then I would truly like play Legos. I would create these stories with, when you see, and it's fun having a toddler now to re-engage with play in that way, to really let your imagination wild and make up stories and have these made up characters interact. And I think that same, whatever that is, carried over into songwriting. And so it didn't feel hard. I do think one of the things I remember feeling early on which is funny now, is how do I say anything new? That was one of the biggest things that I remember. Like one of my first songs that I wrote was really heavy and talking about like people dying and how do you, like, as a middle schooler, I'm writing this and just like, because I'm trying so hard to go somewhere new that I didn't think, was said yet. And it's just so funny, having written probably 500, 1,000 songs. I don't even know how many songs I've written now, that I was so worried about that.
Yeah. But as a middle schooler, that was like front of mind.
You got to be unique, you got to be different, new. And that my identity, I would say, really formed around being the guy that was in a band that played guitar. At that age, I'd go do the talent show, and me and my band would, set up somewhere on the street to play, just anything we could do. It was crazy looking back.
So you grew up in the Carolinas, right?
Yeah, Seneca, South Carolina, right?
Okay.
Upstate, kind of in the mountains.
Okay. Little town, big town?
Yeah, maybe medium. I mean, so my dad moved there to work at nuclear power plants. That was like one of the bigger things that employed people. It's an old mill town of the South. So there was a lot of poverty also very diverse. Like there was a lot of African Americans, Hispanics, and like poor, essentially redneck. Like it was just everything, which I loved. Looking back, I didn't realize that was a little unique for people. And yeah, so it was, I remember when we first got a Chick-fil-A in high school. So it's that kind of like, it was small, but we had some things. It was, you had to drive 30 minutes to go to a good movie theater. You had to drive 45 minutes to see an actual concert, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I love that. I think I spent some time in Atlanta, after college, and cities are great. I loved them, but I think I've always just felt that pull towards a smaller community and feels a little more stable, Yeah.
Not as
chaotic.
Yeah.
And that can be fun sometimes. Sometimes you need that energy and it's exciting. But yeah, not for me.
So did you, when Sam Burchfield really, well, sorry, I'm making too many assumptions here.
No.
How did you like actually catch, the break, or like what was the break for you and your crew?
It's funny. I don't even feel like I've caught one.
Really?
And not to down myself or anything, but I mean, it just feels like there has been slow, steady growth over the past 15 years of doing this. I mean, I was playing in college. I mean, again, I was playing in middle school. I put out CDs to my friends in middle school. I was like over there, like shopping my CDs. And, like I'd burn them myself and put like a sticker on them. Those things would get stuck in people's cars because there's a sticker. Like I don't think that CD won't get out of my car now. It's just, I did that in high school. I went to school. Kind of, my parents' wishes. I got some scholarships. I was a good student and they wanted me to go. Went to University of Georgia, not for music, but just, I got a PR degree just on the side that I'd never use. But there was a music business program there that I loved, and the town was so vibrant and creative, especially from being from Seneca. I mean, there's like 6 music venues and there's bands every night of the week playing music, and it's weird music. Athens is a very eclectic place. You got, the B-52s are from there and REM. It was so much newness to me, experiencing a vibrant downtown that I could go to. And there's a long story that I'm just going to summarize. I did a singing competition in college and I won it. This is just on a whim. I just did it. Someone, it was a college thing, and the winner got $5,000, which I was like, that's insane. So I won it, and I was able to record my first album with that. The first one that's came out, publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also auditioned at that time for American Idol. You might find that on the internet. I try to like erase it from everything. I ended up turning it down. It's a long story that I don't really want to go too deep into.
Okay.
There was another opportunity happening at the same time, and there was all sorts of crazy legal stuff, but I was able to turn down that because it's a really bad deal. And I was hip to that because of the music business program. I went to my professor. I said, here's the contract. I got the golden ticket. Here's the contract they're giving me. He set me up with this amazing lawyer who pro bono was helping me. I'm 18.
You're a kid.
I don't know anything,
Yeah.
but they're like, sign this. And it's like, if you sign it, if you win, like all your albums for the next 6 albums are theirs, and just insane stuff. And, I turned that down, and it had this other opportunity that was essentially a totally different thing that was a record deal, like coming to me, found me through YouTube or something. And a similar situation happened where that was a really bad deal. And me and some of the other guys involved were pushing on it. And finally they were just fed up with us. They're like, we're not going to deal with these kids that want like creative control. Like, no, that is not what we do. And they're like, all right, get lost.
Yeah.
And that all happened. I graduated a semester early in December. So that all happened between, November and February. And they told me I needed to put my album out as soon as I could in order to still be viable for this deal potentially. So I put my album out early February that year. And then right after that, everything fell apart and they're like, we're not going to deal with this deal. So I found myself, just graduated college, had no plan because I was kind of like waiting to see what this was going to happen. I hadn't set up a tour or anything for my album. And I still had like a semester of living in the college house I was living in with some buddies, which is thankfully cheap rent. So that was like the moment that I had to just jump in. All right, okay, I got to pay my bills. I actually started doing some house shows. I'd reach out to buddies in different colleges.
Really?
And just drive up there, play for whatever.
Yep.
And just, for the first, in college and beyond for the first, 2 or 3 years, it was just me reaching out to hundreds of venues on my own, just email, get rejected, no response.
Because they've never heard of you.
Yeah, why would they?
Never heard of you.
Yeah, they're like, who's this guy? I probably was, I probably came across as unexperienced and young. It was obvious the way I was emailing. And they, some small percent would give you a chance in a small venue or a coffee shop or something. And I would just do that as much as possible. I also got plugged in with some guys in Atlanta that were doing like a wedding band stuff. So I found something like, I can make a little more money doing that some weekends. And that was that was all I did I don't think I got an actual booking agent until probably 2019, maybe. So just so DIY and just doing anything I could to get more people out of the show and all the while still trying to record records and self-fund records.
And you got to write the songs.
Well, yeah, and find the time to do that, which is the thing I love the most. Like that I'll do all day. I'll just sit around writing songs, but to try to make money.
Yeah.
And then I through all that time, I met my wife, we got married. We're trying to figure out just, again, how to live. We, we're living in a rough part of Atlanta at that point because we couldn't afford anything. And then COVID hit. And again, this whole time, my career is slowly growing, but I'm still just trying to get by month to month. And I put this record out in, I think February of 2020, my record Graveyard Flower. Which is actually very poignant for the time because it's about reconnecting to nature and to each other and our mortality. Mm-hmm. And then we have this crazy chaotic moment and people are like secluded and it was very interesting.
It's a morbid time.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the heart of it.
Yeah. And that was just happened that way. I think the year before that I remember talking to my wife about, what the next album, like what I wanted to do. And she was helping me kind of think about it and think, what is really important to you? Like, what are you really passionate about that's worth taking all this effort? And I thought about it really deep, really, really, really hard and came to that conclusion of just, I've always felt so connected to nature and I'm so inspired by nature and I find the divine in nature. And then this idea of like, our disconnect from nature is our disconnect from ourselves and from divinity and just how it's all connected. And she really helped me really artistically go into that. And that was also funny enough. That was the first record from when I put out records that I went back to just recording stuff in my room.
Really?
It's funny that it became my most successful record I thought I needed to go to these studios and spend like tens of thousands of dollars to get a producer, or go to this place and have a big band. And this one was me and one of my good buddies, Zach Wells. The first half was just in his apartment with my little, something like this, like just a little thing.
Yep.
And the second half of the record was just back in my house in Atlanta. And so anyways, I put that out. I feel good about it. And we're getting ready to go on tour. We jump in the van and we're going up the coast of New York and starting to tour down. And this is early March of 2020. If you remember, we're in the middle, middle of that. And just the plugs getting pulled. And even, I mean, people on the tour getting sick. It's just like, oh, we're hearing all these rumors of, what's going on. And then you're just like, South by Southwest is canceled. And that's the moment where, oh, this is something. So our tour got canceled in the middle of it, drove home. And then, everyone, that experience was its own thing, just being isolated. But it did help me, I think, wean myself off of playing those like wedding band cover gigs that paid well. I think it forced me to take the space to realize I gotta stop doing that. It's keeping me from the thing I love, even though it's better money. I need to pursue this passion and force myself to do it in a way that is, financially more successful. So yeah, that's that's like a full history we're going in, but
well, let me go back. Let me go back to something that you said. You of course remember when Oliver Anthony exploded onto the scene.
Sure. Yeah.
What I find unbelievable about that guy is so he, records the record on an iPhone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Drops it onto YouTube and it goes to number 1 on every chart there is.
Yeah.
And I think it was Rogan that told the story. I'm sure you heard it.
Oh yeah, I listened to that one.
Where he said he turned down $7 or $8 million contract in order to keep his creative, like all of the creative freedom. And my hat went in my hand just like that, because I thought, $10 says I'd sign on the dotted line in 2 seconds. Right?
No, you would. It's like if
I mean, the temptation would be real.
The temptation would be real.
The temptation would be massive.
But I mean, if you think about it just logically, I mean, and that was, it's basically, I relate to that in the sense of you have to, at some point, are you betting on yourself? If you really, and that was the conversation I had in those early days was, okay, if you don't think you're going to be able to keep going and do well, then sign a deal with someone that's going to give you some money or going to prop you up or whatever. If you believe in yourself truly, and you're persistent and work hard, then bet on yourself. And again, I don't feel like I've had a big break. I mean, I call myself a middle-class musician where there's people that are like hardcore fans and come out to shows and share the stories. But I'm just I'm like, scraping by paying a mortgage. I mean, I'm blessed to even have a house. Like I'm me looking back to me as a just out of college dude would be like, holy crap, you're doing it.
Right.
You have a house and a family and you're still doing, I mean, so I do want to just acknowledge
doing what you love.
I am very blessed.
Yeah.
There wasn't it wasn't like an Oliver Anthony, like boom, then it happened. But I do look back, and the fact that I maintained my creative ownership of my songs and didn't sell that away is the only reason I'm still able to do this. Because over time, as Spotify developed and became a thing, and people have all sorts of opinions about it, but as that became a thing, it was the first time I started to see passive income because of the way the streaming model is set up. And at first it was, it was very little. It'd be like, oh, $500 this month or this. But it grew to the point, and my song Last of the Honeybees just kind of kept growing. And again, there wasn't a reason. There wasn't like a viral video.
It's just a slow.
It just, I think, you know, the way I like to think about songs and music, and not to discount luck and fortune. I mean, the Oliver Anthony thing, incredible artist, incredibly potent song.
Yeah.
But
timing,
even with it all, it's like it's like lightning strike. That stuff just doesn't happen, right. and you're happy for it. But one of the ways I've thought about as a writer, as an artist, is you think about things that are just inherently good, and over time, I do think they are appreciated.
Yeah,
I think about Chick-fil-A sandwich. Think about an iPhone. I mean, you don't really have to market those things that much. You just word of mouth. People are, hey, this thing works really well. It's great. And so I think about with music and with these songs, I just try to write a better song every time I write a song. And I think the thing I have learned that I haven't always done well is to trust myself and my instincts. Mm-hmm. And the more I do that, the more it seems to resonate with people, the more I'm honest and authentic. And eventually, you know, you do that enough, something's gonna come back around. Yeah. And so for that song to do that, like, and that I trusted in myself and didn't give up my creative ownership, my equity in myself, that's the only reason that I can do this now. Because I make enough from that where I'm paying my mortgage, I'm taking care of things from this, just like royalty money,
which then gives you time to do what you're best at.
Exactly.
And it's and you literally get that locomotion or the locomotive going.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man, a wise mentor of mine said, once you get the big old train a rolling, you've got something moving. But to get it going is what stops most people, because it's work. It is hard.
And it's funny.
It is hard. And like you said tonight at the show, there's always a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And
the years
I can relate with, you know, all of this. And it's like, it's not easy. And a lot of people just simply are not willing to pay the sacrifice.
Yeah. And it's easy to see, even people that are, you know, technically overnight successes, like the Oliver Anthony thing. Well, it's easy to say that, but you don't see the decade of him writing songs and him playing guitar and him
and barely making it.
Yeah, and him even just pursuing he's clearly pursuing like deep thinking and truths and wrestling with things. And Chris Stapleton, I mean, he was, you know, everybody knows like, wow, he just kind of popped out of nowhere, but he was doing it for 15 years. And so it's funny, like, it's just funny how that is. I think that's all across the board, all industries, all walks of life. It's just interesting in music because it's inherently this public figure type thing.
So let's talk about how the music business has changed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously AI will get there, right? Because I mean, AI is just this hurricane of everything, like all rolled into one. But let's go back. You are young. You're 33, soon to be 34.
Yes.
When you were 18, so let me tell you a story. I got a buddy who he and his wife were offered a pretty serious deal down in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And he said, Marlon, my wife and I prayed about it and we turned it down. And I said, whoa, no, don't just pass over that. Tell me why.
Yeah.
And he said, we'd been around long enough. He said, we saw, and I'm trying to quote it.
Yeah.
He said, we saw the seedy underbelly of the music business. And he said, it scared us. And we didn't want to go any further. And they literally turned around and walked the other way. What is it like today compared to 15 years ago?
Yeah, well, again, it's hard for me to have as much perspective on 15 years ago because I was, you know, I was just an outsider. I was just an indie outside dude.
Doing your own thing.
Just rogue. I mean, I did interact. I mean, even, you know, I interacted with some insanely high level people. during some of those deals and negotiations. And I will say they did not come across as good people. There was, I mean, clearly they were there to make money. They weren't focused on like what the message is or what the art is. It was like you're in a factory that makes songs that are catchy that people want to hear. That was, and I'm not, that was the impression from those people. And I think that's how a lot of the big industry stuff, big country, big Christian music too, CCM music, it's we've got a formula, we've got a cookie cutter thing, we can pump this and we'll make money off of it. Even if you're a church, people just be like, well, this can be our little label as a church and we'll do this and it'll go on Christian radio. And I mean, so I saw that, but when I was starting out and that music business program, I remember our professor coming in when Spotify just became a thing. And so it was really beneficial in that regard to have him give me his experience of what the industry was and where it was going was so useful. And really what was happening, which I think you're seeing in all sorts of different industries, is taking power away from a few big industry corporate heads, the gatekeepers of the industry, and shifting it where if you had before a financial curve of where the money goes, you had all the money for a few artists at the top, whether it's country, pop, a few rock artists, the big names. For most of history, that's how music was. You had the big names and then a steep curve of you're not going to get very many people that are just a guy with a guitar who can make a living doing that. So what Spotify did and the idea of streaming, which still has its flaws, but what it did was level that out a little bit. I think the internet essentially leveled that out a little bit in the same way that it allowed just anybody that works hard to open up a coffee shop or to have a blog or write reviews for something. I mean, even Plain Values, the internet allows that so much more growth than if we're 50 years ago and you got to go find someone to distribute your paper magazine. I mean, that's how music was, is you had to find someone who would get the word out and distribute your music, either radio or physical vinyl, or no one would hear it at all, And now you're Oliver Anthony, you post a video on your phone. If it's good and resonates with people, they can instantly just boop. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And Spotify is a way to monetize that in the same way that YouTube is a way to monetize that and videos. Not a perfect way, but better than, you have to go to a label executive and they will sell your records and give you a cut.
So let's pause there for a second. I have a Spotify account, of course, and I enjoy it. But I've never thought of Spotify being for you what a Substack is for a writer or a Patreon is for a videographer guy, right? The content creator. I've never seen that. I've never equated the two.
Well, this is a hot take for a lot of people because a lot of people don't, people are anti-Spotify right now.
Why? Maybe that's a dumb question.
Well, people obsess over the per stream payout. They're like, you listen to my song and I'm getting 0.0001 cents. Like, that's ridiculous. You listen to my song a million times and I'm getting $10, whatever it is.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, valid point, but let me make a case for it. Before that, if someone in the digital realm, let's take iTunes world.
Yep.
Someone buys your song, you get $1. That's a lot for them to buy your song. You get $1. You maybe keep 67 cents off of that, realistically, how that model worked. Let's say they are a super fan now. They buy your song, and that one song, they listen to every day because they're obsessed. They love that song so much. They listen to it every day. You still only make one time 67 cents. If they listen to it every day of their life, you're making more over time, but more beneficial than that even is the social element of Spotify, which, like the algorithm, which that's, I think, where you get into some AI, like, you know, is the algorithm fair? Is the algorithm, I think what a lot of people's frustration is the algorithm doesn't seem to allow for someone to just pop into Spotify and have lots of listeners. I don't think it rewards that kind of novelty. I think it rewards consistency and longevity, and I don't know how it works, but point being is that person listens to their song every day. Spotify starts to see that, or even just them telling their friends, and you start to have this little nodes of like, oh, now it's sharing that song to their friend because, you know, it's a smart thing that's trying to, it wants its listeners to be happy and find new music that they love. So if someone's obsessed with the song, it's going to share that. That compounds, and that's what's happened with some of my music. I've witnessed it happen. And the iTunes thing, and I remember a little bit early on with the iTunes thing, it was like you have an album come out and like you people buy the songs, you might get like, oh, like I made like $1,000 this month because I sold all these records. And then the rest of the year, it's nothing. No one's just actively like gonna buy music except maybe when it comes out, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's ultimately, it's been beneficial to me, so I'm biased and I'm pro Spotify right now. Like it is, but I think they have all sorts of statistics of how it's more people are making, you know, more money than ever before in the industry. And it might be like, you know, you got however many thousands of artists that are making more than $10,000 a year off of Spotify. And that's impactful compared to the iTunes model or, you know, having to go through a record label.
Well, it allows more to create more music. I mean, effectively, that's what Substack has done in the writing world, where, you know, they're pulling some of the best writers out of a cubicle from the New York Times.
Yeah.
And those guys are now able, instead of making $80,000 a year sitting writing for them for the Times, they can take their audience to Substack and they can grow it into a lot more.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is it's just more scalable than other models. And I think what you're always going to have is there's always going to be people frustrated with the current system if it's not working for them.
Doesn't that come back to what you said? Write a better song.
I mean, that's the harsh thing. But I mean, because this is the thing. There's almost, like you said it, there's too many good songs now. Like there's an infinite amount of good music and good songs out there to be discovered. I don't think you could listen to it in 20 lifetimes. So at the end of the day, like you just have to create the art that you want to create that resonates with you. Try really hard to find your audience that loves that. And then try really hard to grow it. It's not, I think if people expect any of these services to be an instant hit, like a TikTok viral video, like it's just, that's not how it works. I think it's because there's so much, it's probably harder to find your audience. And I would say probably part of the reason I have had success is because I was putting stuff on Spotify super early. Like, I was releasing records every year if I could, like putting music out. I was on it early and just consistent of releasing music. So, you know, if I had 100 fans from doing my shows that really liked a song and they kind of kept doing it, it was able to grow. But yeah, I just think regardless of what the model is, you got to work hard and you got to find a way to make it work if you're going to make it work. Complaining about it and like I got just people being like, we're protesting Spotify because it's not fair, or because it's allowing people. I mean, people got mad that Joe Rogan had a deal. Essentially, it should be like a free speech platform for whether it's podcasts or music. And you put anything you want up there. And if human beings want to consume it and like it, then great. And that will, even to a fraction, go back to the people that created it. I think where it's getting a little weird is, labels, once it has grown, they are starting to put their claws in it, and they're trying to kind of have a hold on the big playlists and who gets on it. And, it's turned into a little bit of that gatekeeper game of, if you know the right people, maybe you'll get a song on this playlist or this. And then the AI thing, which is very new in the Spotify realm, there are bands that are, as far as everyone could tell, AI bands with millions of plays and listeners. There's speculation that Spotify has denied this, but there's speculation that Spotify created those AI bands. So it's like you're going to create something that you profit off of
multiple ways.
They've denied that, but I mean, man, it's...
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, okay. Before we jump into the AI thing, and I do want to get there, tell me about your folks. Is your mom, your dad, are they super creative? Because it seems to me you have two sisters.
Yep, two older sisters.
Two older sisters, no brothers.
No brothers.
It seems to me that you grew up in a family where, every ounce of creativity was encouraged and just said, Sam, just go, just do, just be.
I think so. My dad is 100% engineer brain, just not musical.
High detail.
Loves, nuclear engineer. So he had to be just the man is a genius. Honestly, he's brilliant. And, but not in the creative realm. Loves music. Always he'll light up, listen to a good, Johnny Cash song or Willie Nelson song. My mom, I didn't realize how creative she was growing up, but she's now an author. She later in life decided to start writing books. She is incredibly creative. And I think thinking about that, I was talking about the idea of play just as a kid. I think she helped cultivate that in us. Just seeing her interact with, my kids, it's wow, yeah, my mom is really creative. Wow. She's in it. So it wasn't like they were pushing creativity. They let us kind of do what we wanted. My dad's big thing was work hard, do your best, whatever you're going to do. So I think they were excited that I had just found something that I was working my butt off. I was putting in the hours.
Yeah.
And so they were all about that. And I think they were a little hesitant about, what was going to happen after high school and, going to school, getting a degree. I think they wanted me to have that as a backup plan or whatever. But I think once they realized that I was just in it, they didn't push hard on me to not do music, which I appreciated. I think I was very blessed. My parents are awesome. They've been super supportive. And they also, again, they stepped back when they needed to. They didn't help me with music. They weren't trying to micro. I see that with parents sometimes who have kids that are doing music. They want to be the roadies that, we're going to get you this gear and we're going to help, too much help. I really had to, they did help. I wanted a guitar for my birthday and they helped. There were moments where they're if you're really passionate about this and you meet us here, we'll meet you here. And, you need this gear or whatever. But it was always you're doing music, you're doing it on your own way, So that I was super appreciative of that.
This podcast is sponsored by my friends at Azure Standard. A while back, I had a chance to sit down with the founder, David Stelzer, right here at the table, and we had a great conversation. I love the Azure story. They started out as farmers back in the 70s, and I think in 1987, they began a nationwide food distribution company. And guys, they are non-GMO, organic. They do it right. They do it so well. And you can get a truck to drop food right in your town. Check them out at azurestandard.com and tell them Marlon and Plain Values sent you.
Let's jump into AI.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Let me bring you a little bit of context for why I really care and why I want to talk about it. I think in the publishing world, I think our Napster moment is years gone by. Like, I think that moment happened years ago. What concerns me about the future of where I think we all see that AI could go, as far as just simply sucking the creativity out of everything, is exactly what happened here tonight. There's something so real and something so genuine and authentic when you get a bunch of butts in chairs and you are there and you're playing and you're there and you get to tell the stories behind the songs, and it's this awesome interaction. You know, that there were families there that were grieving, you know, the loss of a child, and you played a role in that. Obviously, it's a slow, painful healing process, but you played a role. Like, you gave them a bit of a reprieve tonight. And I know that they absolutely loved it because they told me. They told me. They had an absolute blast. How do you see AI? I'm sorry. I'm going to back up. Will this ever end? Will this evening ever end?
No. I think it's the most human thing we can do is gathering, sharing stories. I mean, story is the basis of everything. Talking from, have religious audience, like talking from the gospel.
Yeah.
The story, the word. I mean, the fact that speaking something is what creates. The idea that your life lived out is a story. The life of Christ is the gospel story. So that's what, I mean, when we gather, when we speak, our actual voices resonating and speaking and putting words together, it's creation and being, and I know we'll have people listening to this who are not in the room with us, and that's this cool version of technology that allows for that to happen. And that is great, but I don't think anything would replace being our physical presence in a space together and sharing story. Never going to go away. I mean, some people, if you look at like some of these, like WALL-E, my kid likes WALL-E. You look at stuff like that, the movie where the humans end up being crazy overweight in these floating chairs with just the screens. I mean, that's crazy accurate how close we're getting. So I think we're at this crossroads, and maybe it's not a crossroads where you can only go down one road, but I think there's these two combating things. And I don't even want to say they're good and evil, or it would be easy to be like, AI is evil. I don't know that. It just is something. And I think it's helping us learn and grow because of how, like, in the same way that our iPhone, there's a lot of good things that come from it, but just the fact that it's there helps us learn and grow because we want to push away from it. If that wasn't this thing to struggle with, I don't know that we would be trying so hard to run the other way. And I think what's happening now is you have, I mean, in the past 10, 15 years, there's been such a movement, and Plain Values is embodying this from the copy you sent me that I got to read. There's this push for locality in our food, in our education systems, in our communities. I mean, even on a government level, there's this like, oh, we got to take care of our own. We got to try to take care of these little communities that we can. The push towards family, but this is happening while there's the exact opposite push happening too. The push for individualism away from family is the push towards, all this technology. You don't know where it's going to go, but I do think I know where I want to go. I know what I am drawn towards. That's what I mean. I know what I am drawn towards, and it feels like that is what humanity is being drawn towards. And it's hopeful. I don't think people should think about AI in this Terminator fear-based thing. It just is what it is, and it's going to be what it is. I think the thing to pursue is hope in goodness and beauty and truth, and pursuing that in arts, in the food, in the communities, in our families. That's all you can do. And then if AI can serve that, great. Like, I have used it before honestly, I've used it for medical things. Like, hey, ChatGPT or whatever, I'm dealing with this thing. Like, it's just Googling, right now it's just a way to do that. And there's going to be people that use it in insane ways. There's people that are going to make bands and put them out on Spotify, and you're going to listen to them and not know they're not real. But you're not going to be able to see them at a concert. You're not going to be able to hear their story. They don't have a story. Yeah. I think that's the thing about AI. The difference is it doesn't have a story. It's in the same way that your phone doesn't have a story, or your toaster doesn't have a story. I mean, I know they're intelligent, and they're going to probably have walking around robots. Honestly, they're going to have, it's crazy to think in my lifetime. Oh yeah, they do already, but it's going to be this common thing where you've got, instead of an iPhone, you just have a robot butler over there that's waiting on, and I'm not going to be the guy to have that, but someone's going to have that. And you're like, okay, all right, but there's not a story there. And that's such a basic way to just hone in on it.
It's interesting because I've got friends who will go all in, like they're just all in. I love it. This is great. Then I've got other friends, and I probably, if I'm just being real, I tend to be more of the side where I'm like, I'm just not going to touch it.
Yeah,
I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. But I also realize that there's a balance between being a total, utter, like a Luddite. Yeah. And you say, well, I'm going to reject all things technology because that's not reality. Like, that's not reality.
There's this, I think we all talk and muse about like, well, we could just go back to the Stone Age. Like, things would be better if we just. And there's, a version of that where people are, really going off grid homesteading and limit technology, or get one of the, a dumber phone. Mm-hmm. There's versions of that, but cat's out of the bag now. And I think we just have to lean into our humanness. And I don't know. I know for myself personally, I struggle with the idea that I hate being on my phone, but I rely on it to do my job. Yeah. To get the word out to people. I think I daydream about a day when I have enough Spotify numbers that I can just burn my phone, and it's like, all right, we don't have to worry about promoting things as much anymore or whatever. But, I can't do that. And I have to find this way to balance it, which humans have always had to find a way to balance technology and nature.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, technology of the old was just different.
It was just different.
It was just different.
I mean, people, my wife always, she's all about, she's on the side of excitement about AI and like doesn't think it's going to take away our creativity, but thinks, and I actually agree with this to a degree. AI right now kind of does a lot of dumb tasks that people don't want to do if you think about it. Like, I think AI is going to be really good at making crappy pop music. I mean, think about it. It's going to be great. Yeah. It's going to be great in making, dumb little posters that it's just like the stuff that's the fast fashion type stuff. The stuff that's just but the thing that it will probably someday be able to do, but not do very well. And it'll be very difficult for it to create something that has emotion and story and that is continually pushing to a new place because it's inherently pulling off of things that are already created.
Right. It's not doing anything new. Just like you as a kid.
Well, right. I mean, I guess AI professionals will be like, yes, it is doing something new, but it is, as I understand it, it's able to, you say, hey, create a Da Vinci painting of my dog. It's going to go look at all the Da Vinci paintings and gather all that data and look at all the dog paintings. And then it's like, blah, 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 we can do that. But it's not this thing that can create from nothingness in the way that the human brain can, or the human body for that matter. You think about a baby, I mean, just the miracle of life, these things that I think what it is it's made a lot of us appreciate our humanness in a way. And so that I'm like, that's a blessing. It's a blessing that AI has appeared now to force us to change a little bit.
And I would want to add really quickly. I think AI is rekindling our desire to connect.
Yeah.
Like it's making us sit down and say, I miss talking to my friend. Mm-hmm. Like literally. And that's where it is. That's where life is in the relationship and meeting a new friend. Do you know, I read a stat, this is a couple of years ago. It's probably worse than what I'm about to share.
Oh God.
But I read a stat that most people, the average guy in America, at that time, literally made a new friend every 5 years.
Whoa.
It was something unbelievable. Yeah. And I'm probably off of my details, but it was unbelievably bad. It was horrifically somber.
Yeah.
Most people don't make a friend in a year. And that is beyond me that's got to be hell. It just has to be, not that they don't have friends and all that, but to not make a new friend? Are you nuts?
Yeah, 5 years.
My goodness. Goodness.
I think, we're just so isolated and so
alone, lonely.
Yeah,
everything. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we really, it gets really dark and depressing pretty quickly. But again, I do lean into the hope of things. And that's one of the beautiful things about what I do, like getting to put on concerts and so I get to be in these moments of connection more than a lot of people, like probably when I think about it. And it seems like more so than ever before of my touring life, people are stricken with emotion.
Really?
At concerts. More like, I think because we're so isolated, we're so in our virtual phone worlds and all that our souls are, it's like this recognition that something really visceral and honest is happening.
And that heart is missing?
Yeah.
Like they get there and they're almost overwhelmed with what they've been missing? That's amazing.
I think so. You can tie that to like the decline of, I think, churches in that too. And it's a similar thing. You know, you're gathering, you're searching for truth, which I think good music, good art is doing that. You know, it's searching for truth. And you're in this physical space with people, there's a vulnerableness to it. I don't know. I think they're sort of tied together. There's sort of this very similar parallel thing that happens. And I think for people that are very absent from that or just don't have that community and are able to go to a concert, it is this, there's a spiritual element to it. Like there's this real like feeling of like transcendence, like bumping into it, you know? And it's interesting because I guess it's like, and I have some songs sort of about this, that there can be worship and there can be interaction with the divine, obviously outside of the building of the church, which I think most people would agree to that. Like the church is not the building, the church is the people. The Holy Spirit is something that moves between us and is alive in people and space. So yeah, it's just interesting. I think that is so empty for a lot of us, and that even something like going to a little concert, even if it's not like they're not singing about God necessarily, but they're singing about their humanity. Like I had a hard day. I mean, those are the moments those vulnerable moments where we resonate, where we feel seen and where we see each other.
Do you think the iPhone, like I'm just trying to process through exactly what you said. The iPhone in a way seems to be a way, which I'm not on social media at all. I'm not anywhere.
Bless you.
I'm not. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of friends who are on it all the time. And what I see, what I sense is this nonstop comparing to everybody around all the time. And guess what? They're never going to measure up. It will always be beautifuler someplace else.
Yeah.
Right? And it seems like if you're constantly looking at this, you're never gonna be okay with yourself ever.
Yeah.
And the reality is, I'm as messed up as they come. You're as messed up as they come, and that's okay. We're all screwed up. We're all sinful. And that's all right. He loves us anyway. But if you're looking at the wrong thing, it just becomes really hard to find joy. And then you go to a place where there is joy, and I can kind of understand what you're saying, that people are really overcome at times with emotion.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting with the phone thing, because if you think about it, it is you're looking at something that's not looking at you. That's a weird thing, because even I heard a good quote one time that in regards to nature, like letting nature witness you, which is essentially letting God witness you. Accepting that you are beautiful enough for the mountain itself to gaze upon you, God himself to gaze upon you, and be like, wow, that's beautiful. Because we look at nature, we look outward, and we look and we're, look at that beautiful tree, look at that river, look at that, look at this other person even.
Yeah.
And like we don't allow ourselves, which is an act of vulnerability, allow ourselves to be witnessed, that's really like accepting God's love and grace. That is the feeling of that, to accept yourself to be totally witnessed and acknowledged as beautiful. And so then the irony of looking at this black box, where you might see a beautiful mountain on there, you might see a beautiful human being, you might see even hear some words, like something inspiring, but you are not allowing yourself to be seen, because it's not looking back at you. Mm-hmm. You know, even when I'm going to post a video, so I'm going to take a video of myself. then you're just looking at yourself. And sure, like later on, maybe someone will see that and like there's this fake version of that. There's a fake version of being seen. You're not being seen in actuality. It's a concocted version of you. It's what you think looks the best in the best light or what you think you want to say. But having a real conversation or standing like in front of a mountain or a lake, like that's just where you're there. Like it is you and you have to accept yourself, you know?
You said upstairs earlier that you want to talk about the hard things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a favorite story of one of those moments at a show where you bear part of your soul and something comes back around? And
yeah, it happens a lot, honestly.
Really?
I think it's like the beautiful thing of,
wow,
like Holy Spirit or synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. Something that for myself, just an interesting moment that, so I have a cyst on my neck that I discovered a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago. And I was sort of avoiding it, you know, didn't want to acknowledge what it could be for anyone that has, you know, health stuff. I think that's this thing where I'll just not pay attention to it and it won't be there.
it'll go away.
Yeah. It wasn't going away. And my wife kind of finally was like, you need to see somebody. I'm worried. And I was on the inside very worried. And so I finally went, you know, got an ultrasound. They're like, well, we don't know really what it could be. Here's some things it could be. And you need to get MRI. So I get the MRI. The same day I get the MRI, I have to leave for tour. Just lined up. The only day they could see me was like, all right. Well, and then I jump in the van and drive off through Texas, I think, going up through Colorado. And I don't know the results. So and honestly, I have a record that I'm putting out this fall that in most of the songs on there, I was wrestling with, I was trying to walk through that potential pain. Essentially, I was trying to face death.
The fear and everything that goes with it.
I was trying to, at some point, through my songs I was writing and through just me talking to people, I was running from it for a long time. And then I finally, when I did the MRI, and I'm like, okay, I just have to prepare for this to be, you know, cancer, for this to be like whatever, and just stare it and look at it. Just acknowledge that my body is gonna wither away. Some, you know, just these things we ultimately have to face and reckon with. And so I was doing that, and then I mean I was, you know, luckily it wasn't cancer. I got the results. It's a thyroglossal duct cyst. It's still something that I, you know, trying to figure out without having to cut my neck open. Obviously, kind of an important part of my body for my what I do. But I lost my voice right after that MRI, probably because of the MRI. Lost my voice, got sick. We're on the road. I'm having to sing everything like I'm singing down in the Johnny Cash to get through the shows. I mean, it's awful. I get to Denver and I just tell people, like, guys, like this morning, I wasn't sure if I had cancer in my throat, and I'm so blessed to find out that it is not cancer. But you know, a lot of people don't find that out. Like a lot of people don't have that end up that way. And so I was just open about it. And the crazy thing that worked through, I mean, I know people there were impacted by that. I don't always hear stories of how or why. But then a crazy thing happened where I get this text from a person I knew from years back who happened to be at the show. I didn't see this person. They would say, "Hey, I heard you talking about that thing on stage. I'm a functional medicine doctor, and I'll just for free give you some care about this. We can approach this from a holistic thing. Like, I know you're a musician. I don't have, you know, a lot of money to throw at this health problem." And so for the past, I mean, literally just had a Zoom call with her last week, and we've been like, she's been just this incredible blessing of helping me work through not just that, but just general health, just figuring out, deficiencies and what supplements and just taking care of my body when I'm on the road. And it's like, man, I'm not expecting when I'm vulnerable on stage, I'm not expecting that to like come back around like that. And it was this moment of like, wow, that's such this unexpected blessing. And like, if I wasn't willing to be vulnerable, essentially, I wasn't explicitly saying I have a need for someone with health care help, but I was, by being vulnerable, voicing a need. And if you don't voice a need, you don't ask, like, you can never have that answered. But man, yeah, honestly, like sometimes I get messages from people and it's almost like too much to handle, being not like it's a stranger who is sharing something intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to really give, even if I'm at a show talking at the merch table, I try to give everyone all the time and attention I can. If they want to talk about something heavy, I want to be present. It's hard with the internet. But that happened. One other story around just vulnerability and honestly, just like, obviously God working, not me, was, I had a fan reach out and say their dad was, had a brain tumor and was sick, and just saying like, hey, he really likes your music. Could you send a video of you playing a song? And I do. And around that time I had just kind of recorded this, a song my wife wrote and had already put out, but it's just so beautiful. I was like, I want to record this. It's called All Is Well. The chorus is, all is well, all is fine, be gentle, be kind. And I just like, hey, here's this song. Like I just recorded this with my wife and I just want to send this to you because I know that this seems like a thing. And I just felt, it was on my heart to just send this to you. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She was very grateful. And then she had reached out to me a few weeks later to let me know that her father had passed away. But she sent me these videos of him and the family like listening to this song and just mourning as he's like on his deathbed. And like this just insane moment of like, obviously it's not about me. It's not about the song. It's like, what a blessing. And thinking about the technology thing, this is where we get to like, let's not just paint it all bad, because there are things and blessings and ways that God will work through these things that we can't even comprehend. I mean, to be able to have, music from anywhere in the world at any time in these precious moments, to be able to talk to a loved one on the phone when you're so far, to be able to see somebody's I mean, for me, like being able to see my kids when I'm on the road and be able to FaceTime my kids and see them, like just that there's these blessings and these ways that technology is used for good, and that we should just push for that and not get drowned in the fear of, why it's like the apocalypse and AI is the devil and it's gonna like, I mean, you can go down that path, and I'm not trying to judge anyone that's going down that path. I'm just saying that it's always better to lean into hope and beauty and truth. That's the gospel. That's the way we should push forward. That is the way. And I think that's what we have to do right now, because it is crazy. It is crazy.
And getting a lot worse.
It's getting crazier.
Yeah, I agree. Last question.
Okay.
How can we pray for you and your family?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this in the show. I won't go into too much about it, but obviously it's really hard for me traveling. I would ask for discernment around where the sacrifice is for me as a father, because it's really hard to be gone. And I've always said I've said this from very early on, like I would drop music in a second if I needed to. I'm not letting this be a thing that's like, I've seen too many older people that have thrown themselves at something and it's wrecked their personal lives. Like, that's not it. I do feel called to write songs, and I do feel very used in a good way often when I'm at my best, in moments like tonight, like where I know that there's important things happening for, you know, people's spirits. But man, it's hard to be gone, and it's hard for my wife. You know, praying for her, she deals with some anxiety and some, you know, just everybody I think nowadays deals with that. And I think that's just this thing we're having to figure out and walk through as a family. Just like every father, every family out there, like, how do you balance time with your kids and time working where you have to be away, provision for the future, but also just living in the present moment? It's the, you know, the plight of man, I guess, you know, like the toil. Yeah, that would be it, you know, discernment and just health. Yeah, I feel very blessed. We have family close by, and just the fact that we have a home, you know, like, wow, like it's wild that we have a home and I'm playing music, and that's crazy. So I feel very blessed.
That's cool. I hope you know how much I shared parts of our kids' story with you earlier, and there was a little bit of me that felt bad for you tonight when you were playing a few of the songs and our kids were jumping around,
man,
and it was wonderful. But I was hoping that it wasn't too much or anything, but thank you. You have no idea how much they enjoy music, how much they enjoy your music specifically. Dude, they are so fired up. They are so fired up. It was great.
Well, man,
it was great.
No, that's thank you for sharing that. It's a blessing. I don't take it lightly.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. This episode of the Plain Values podcast is sponsored by my friends at Kentucky Lumber. When Derek from Kentucky Lumber and I first talked, one of the first things that we talked about was his story of their family and their business and how that all came to be. And what I found really quickly was massive similarities in their family stories and Lisa and I, our family story. From the adoptions to the business side of things, it really comes down to Derek and his wife and Lisa and I basically saying the exact same thing, where we basically said, Lord, if you want us to adopt and foster children, you're going to have to bring us a bigger house and a bigger income. And that's exactly what happened. In Derek's case, 2 weeks later, a guy approached him about buying his business and his home. In our case, it was a little different, a couple years later. But he provided everything that both of our families needed to live out the calling that he had put on our families to care for the children that he was going to bring us.
And I adore that. The having the faith to step out and say, if you want us to do this, you got to provide the way. There's something so great where you give, not that we don't give the Lord the opportunity to do something, but I think it's especially wonderful when you have the attitude that you have to do this in a way that I can't take any of the credit. Like, it is literally so cool and so absurd in a way that only you can get the glory. And I just love that. I love Derek and his family. They are the kind of people that I want to do business with. And I have a feeling you're going to find the same thing. You can find them at drywallhaters.com.
So hold my hand.
In his book, Rembrandt is in the Wind, Russ Ramsey says that the Bible is the story of the God of the universe telling his people to care for the sojourner, the poor, the orphan, and the widow. And it's the story of his people struggling to find the humility to carry out that holy calling. Guys, that is what Plain Values is all about. If you got anything out of this podcast, you will probably love Plain Values in print. You can go to plainvalues.com to learn more and check it out. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Guys, love you all. Thanks so much.